Good morning, students. Here we come up with gross anatomy of pectoral region. So in the gross anatomy of pectoral region, first the entire pectoral region is covered by superficial fascia. This superficial fascia will include mammary gland, and there will be further continuation above the pectoral region of platysma, and this platysma muscle will be taking origin from the pectoral fascia. Although it is a part of subcutaneous tissue, it will continue above the clavicle towards the base of mandible. Then we come down to deep fascia. In the pectoral region, the deep fascia consists of the pectoral fascia. This pectoral fascia will cover pectoralis major muscle. Below, it will continue down and it will enclose another muscle which is known as latissimus dorsi. And the same pectoral fascia will continue in the axilla as axillary fascia. So these are the important features after the removal of the skin during dissection. Now we come to the main muscles of the pectoral region. So the main muscles of pectoral region, basically they are classified as pectoralis major, pectoralis minor, subclavius muscle, and also serratus anterior muscle is included in this region. Therefore, considering the main muscles pectoralis major, pectoralis minor and subclavius. So pectoralis major is covered by pectoral fascia, that is deep fascia. After the removal of pectoral fascia, we come across the pectoralis major muscle. So today we are going to discuss the entire pectoralis major muscle, which is a very important muscle. So here we go with the first diagram, and that will be, this is approximately the clavicle which you have to draw of one side. Now, similarly, here we are going to show the manubrium sternum. This is where we show the manubrium sternum, and then we are going to show the body of the sternum. So therefore, in order to draw the body of sternum, we draw various notches. These notches are very important because, first of all, where my hand is there, there will be presence of first costal cartilage, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth and seventh costal cartilage. So similarly, this way we shall complete the sternum, and here we draw the xiphisternum. So this portion will include xiphisternum. Similarly, the notches, this will be first, second, then third, fourth, fifth, sixth and seventh. So in this way complete the manubrium, body of sternum and xiphisternum. Very simple line diagram. Over here on this side we shall draw the head of the humerus. From the head of the humerus we shall draw the greater tubercle, and then we draw the upper part of the humerus. In this way we complete our humerus. Now in the humerus, if I write over here humerus, we shall draw the lesser tubercle also, and we shall draw the bicipital groove. Now here this is the bicipital groove of the humerus. Very simple. Now we are going to show the pectoralis major, the origin of pectoralis major. Now the entire pectoralis major muscle is taking a broad origin and a narrow insertion. Narrow insertion over bicipital groove or intertubercular sulcus of humerus, and broad origin. So here we go with the origin. Now the entire pectoralis major will take origin from clavicle and manubrium sternum. So we are dividing the origin of pectoralis major into two parts, clavicular portion and sternocostal portion. Clavicular portion, note down, the pectoralis major will cover the medial half of anterior surface of clavicle. So the clavicular fibers of pectoralis major will take origin from the medial half of anterior surface of the clavicle. This is how the pectoralis major fibers will be passing. The clavicular fibers. Once again I'll repeat, the clavicular fibers will take origin from the medial half of anterior surface of clavicle. Sternocostal fibers. The sternocostal fibers, remember three important points. The sternocostal fibers will take origin from number 1, the entire anterior surface of the sternum laterally. So lateral part of anterior surface of sternum up till the level of sixth costal cartilage. So this will go like this. In this way it will pass. This is the origin, the first point of origin of sternocostal fibers from lateral part of anterior surface of sternum up till sixth costal cartilage. In addition to that, if I draw over here, these are the costal cartilages. So 1, 2, then 3, then 4, then 5 and 6. So second point of origin from sternocostal portion will be second to sixth costal cartilages. This is very important. So it will also take origin from second to sixth costal cartilages. And third point of origin will be from the aponeurosis of external oblique muscle of abdomen. Over here there will be external oblique muscle of abdomen. So from the aponeurosis of external oblique muscle of abdomen, there will be the origin of sternocostal fibers of pectoralis major. So once again I'll repeat, sternocostal fibers of pectoralis major, three important points. The first point will be lateral part of the anterior surface of sternum up till the level of sixth costal cartilage. Number 2, from second to sixth costal cartilage. And number 3, from the aponeurosis of external oblique muscle of abdomen. These 3 points are very, very important. They form the sternocostal origin of pectoralis major. Please note down. Now here, insertion. We discussed the insertion. The entire pectoralis major after taking origin will be inserted in the bicipital groove. But the insertion will be in such a way that it will be inserted in a narrow strip of lateral lip of bicipital groove. The proper word of insertion will be lateral lip of bicipital groove of the humerus. Lateral lip of bicipital groove of the humerus. But here in insertion, the entire insertion of pectoralis major is divided into 2 lamina, anterior lamina, posterior lamina. So the fibers of anterior lamina, see here, they are forming superficial, intermediate and deep fibers. Once again I'll repeat, insertion will be anterior lamina, posterior lamina. So what I have drawn over here, this is anterior lamina. And this anterior lamina are having fibers of 3 different layers. Of course pectoralis major only, and those 3 layers will be superficial fibers will come from clavicle. So these are the superficial fibers, they form clavicular portion like this, and they will be inserted in the anterior lamina, the superficial fibers. They are clavicular fibers. Intermediate fibers will come from manubrium sternum. So the intermediate fibers will be from manubrium sternum. This will form the intermediate fibers. Superficial fibers, clavicular fibers, intermediate from manubrium sternum, manubrium portion of sternum, and deep fibers will be from sternal margin and fifth costal cartilage. Which is the fifth costal cartilage? This was first, second, third, fourth and fifth. So from the fifth costal cartilage and sternal margin, these fibers will form the deep portion. They will form which portion? The deep portion of anterior lamina. So the deep portion of the anterior lamina is formed by the fibers of sternal margin, the fibers taking origin from sternal margin as well as fifth costal cartilage. So superficial, intermediate, deep. Superficial from the clavicular fibers, they are clavicular fibers. The intermediate, manubrial fibers, deep fibers, they are sternal fibers, that is the fibers taking origin from sternal margin and fifth costal cartilage. So together this superficial, intermediate and deep fibers will form anterior lamina. And this anterior lamina is inserted where? Lateral lip of bicipital groove or intertubercular sulcus of humerus. Then we come to posterior lamina. Now the posterior lamina, of course it is lying posterior to the anterior lamina. So posterior lamina is composed of, note down, the remaining sternocostal fibers. The posterior lamina consists of remaining sternocostal fibers taking origin And remember the last point, the fibers from external oblique aponeurosis. So the deep lamina will be formed by remaining sternocostal fibers and the deep lamina, no, the fibers from external oblique aponeurosis. That forms the deep lamina. Now here if I draw the deep lamina, I will use a slightly different color over here. So the deep lamina will be the remaining sternocostal fibers which I am drawing, which is lying deep to anterior lamina, and the fibers from aponeurosis of external oblique muscle. So these are the fibers of deep lamina. Now, where will these deep lamina fibers be inserted? Remember, the deep lamina is inserted on bicipital groove in such a way that it will be twisted. How twisted in appearance? In such a way that the fibers which are lower, the lowermost fibers of posterior lamina will be inserted at the highest level of bicipital groove. So, if the lower fibers are present here, then here if I draw, they will be inserted at the highest portion of bicipital groove. And the fibers which are higher in origin, these fibers will be passing and will be inserted at the lower portion of bicipital groove. That is why this posterior lamina it will go like this and it will go like this. So the posterior lamina is twisted in appearance. Once again I repeat, what are the fibers of posterior lamina? They are the remaining fibers of sternocostal origin as well as the fibers taking origin from aponeurosis of external oblique muscle of abdomen. Speciality of posterior lamina will be, as I have drawn in two different lines, it is twisted. How it is twisted? It is twisted in such a way that the fibers which are lowest in origin will be highest in insertion, and the fibers which are highest, coming from the highest level of origin, they will be at the lowest level of insertion. So it will be twisted. Remember one thing, anterior and posterior lamina. Now both these lamina, they are continuous in a U-shaped manner. So they will be continuous in a U-shaped manner. This is the anterior lamina, this is the posterior lamina, and they will be continuous at its lower margin. So the insertion, see the yellow line, the insertion of pectoralis major will be U-shaped, particular U-shaped insertion. Anterior lamina, this is posterior lamina, and lower down both of them are continuous. So U-shaped insertion. What is important is this posterior lamina. As the fibers are coming from the remaining sternocostal part and the aponeurosis of external oblique muscle of abdomen, it will be twisted, in which the uppermost fibers will be inserted at the lower level and the lowermost fibers will be inserted at upper level. In this way, posterior lamina of pectoralis major is inserted. And the anterior lamina and posterior lamina will be continuous with each other in a U-shaped insertion. So therefore, the lowermost fold, anteriorly the lowermost fold of pectoralis major will form anterior axillary fold. So this margin, lowermost margin, will form anterior axillary fold. And the upper fold of the pectoralis major, there will be a groove which it will form with the anterior fibers of deltoid. And here, since this portion will be covered by deltoid, so between the anterior margin of deltoid and the upper margin of pectoralis major, there will be deltopectoral groove. Now the entire pectoralis major, we have discussed origin, insertion, nerve supply. The nerves which supply the pectoralis major will be two nerves, medial pectoral nerve and lateral pectoral nerve. Please note down, the medial pectoral nerve and lateral pectoral nerve will supply pectoralis major muscle. Medial pectoral nerve will pierce pectoralis minor muscle, and lateral pectoral nerve will pierce clavipectoral fascia. That we'll discuss in the next segment, next lecture. Now here the last point we have to discuss, actions. If we note down the actions, these actions are very important, pectoralis major. They are many a times asked in MCQs also. Number one, the first action of pectoralis major will be adduction and medial rotation of shoulder joint. So please note down, adduction as well as medial rotation of shoulder joint. I'm just noting down adduction and medial rotation of shoulder joint, pectoralis major. Second important action, so here I will mark this as first, then second. Now second important action, consider the clavicular fibers. Now these are the clavicular fibers. So these clavicular fibers will help in flexion of shoulder joint. So flexion of shoulder joint. Clavicular fibers will act in flexion of shoulder joint. Second important action. Third important action, I will write over here. The third important action will be the entire muscle will act as accessory muscle of inspiration. In which condition? In that condition when the humerus will be abducted. So when the humerus is abducted, at that particular point, this muscle will act as accessory muscle of inspiration. So it will act as accessory muscle of inspiration. I am just noting down the alphabets. Accessory muscle of inspiration. In which condition? The pectoralis major will function as accessory muscle of inspiration in those conditions when the humerus will be abducted in position. The fourth important action, this is very important. We have discussed about clavicular fibers. The clavicular fibers action will be flexion of shoulder joint. Now the fourth important action is concerned with the sternocostal fiber. The sternocostal fibers will help in extension of flexed arm against resistance. So note down, it will help in extension of flexed arm against resistance. And this action somewhat applies to climbing. In cases of climbing also, this pectoralis major, the sternocostal fibers will particularly help in extension of the flexed arm against resistance, and that movement is considered as a climbing muscle. So in cases of climbing also, this movement will be included. Therefore, this muscle also helps in climbing movements. So which is the last one? The sternocostal fibers will help in extension of flexed arm against resistance. These are the four important actions of pectoralis major. So we have finished the first muscle of pectoral region, that is pectoralis major. Thank you very much.